Don't ignore what's happening here. We're having some kind of powerful, weird alchemy, and you have to pay attention when that happens. Stuff is not to be treated lightly.
Listen, I actually just came out here to have a cigarette, okay, and relax and do my thing.
Yeah.
So, maybe another time.
Yeah, but there may not be another time. Okay, I may never get this chance again. I mean, we may never, be able to return to this moment.
Hey there guys, Xeno here, back to give you guys a brand new recipe that involves everybody's favorite go-to dish, which is the burger. Now the burger is split into three main parts: the patty, the accessories, and the buns. Normally making a homemade burger is easy, but since I'm an ambitious kid, instead of buying bakery bought buns, I will attempt to create the buns from scratch. Disclaimer, I am not a baker, so please bear with me. The recipe that I'll be following for the buns is by Joshua Weissman on YouTube. Please go check out his channel. He has a lot of recipes, not just for burger buns. His recipe starts by creating Japanese milk dough called Tangzhong, which has 4 tablespoons of milk or almond milk if you want, 2 tablespoons of water, and 2 tablespoons of bread flour. Whisk it around 40 to 60 seconds over medium-high heat until it forms a white pasty kind of thing, just like here that I'm showing you. Next step is to create the yeast and milk mixture, which I'll be failing miserably here since I didn't realize that I have instant dry yeast, which requires a food kind of thing, just like sugar. Generally, you will want to have around half a cup of milk that has been heated up to around 30 degrees Celsius, 1 tablespoon of instant dry yeast, and a teaspoon of sugar for the dry yeast to feast on. That is the step that I forgot, so that's why I just wasted half a cup of milk and a tablespoon of yeast, to which we will continue to add 2 cups of flour into a small mixing bowl or a medium mixing bowl, to which we are going to realize that my yeast mixture was so wrong. Now adding half a cup of milk and 1 teaspoon of granulated sugar for the 1 tablespoon of yeast to feast upon, mixing it around and leaving it 10 minutes. You'll actually see it rise for at the 5-minute mark, to which we're going back to our flour mixture, adding now teaspoon of salt, 2.5 tablespoons of granulated white sugar, and whisking it around using a tiny whisk so that dry ingredients would incorporate to each other. And get a whole egg and separate 1 egg yolk from another egg, and then turning on our mixer around medium-low, mixing in our milk and yeast mix, Tangzhong paste, and the eggs that you separated. Every now and then you want to scrape down the side so that the dough would incorporate it with each other. Now here is me getting ignorant and taking the stand mixer off because it's actually kind of useless, and incorporating 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, but the butter I have here is salted, so I just used around 1.5 tablespoons, I think. Now getting a dusted surface, you want to knead the dough just like what I'm doing here, folding it into each other, making sure that I'm doing it correctly. You want to fold some of the sides inwards just like here, and here's me flipping it. We want to just go let it in each other, and then forming it into a kind of a cutesy ball. Just like what I did here. Now getting a greased large bowl and making sure that it's correct again, putting in, making sure it is actually oiled up, and covering it around 1.5 hours. Now here in the Philippines it's already hot, so there's no need to leave it somewhere that is warm, so let's just leave it there. Now after 1.5 hours has passed, you will notice that your dough has doubled in size, and you want to punch it because just like what Joshua Weissman said, it has been a bad boy. Now then, you want to flatten out your dough into a dusted surface just like what I did here. Since I don't have a measuring scale or something like that, I'm just gonna cut it with a dough cutter, and also flouring it, dusting it so it makes sure it doesn't stick to my dough cutter. Cutting it into 8 halves, and folding those halves into each other just like what we did with the big dough, and using one hand making sure it turns into a circle, or in the Philippines you'll know it as a pandesal shape, and then leaving it to rise once again for around an hour or 30 minutes depending on what size. And after around such time has passed, you will notice that your small buns have doubled in size once again. Preheating your oven to 180 degrees Celsius for around 15 minutes. You want to brush the top of your egg buns with an egg wash that has been created with eggs and a dash of milk, to which we are going to add our buns into the oven for around 15 to 30 minutes depending on your oven. Now you want to get your beef. Now everybody says that 80-20 beef is the best beef for burgers, which is true. It is actually one of the best, but you can go for 60-20-20, which is a 60% chuck, 20% rib eye, and 20% fat, but I'm just gonna be using 80-20 or just store-bought beef. Now here's a tip when creating your patties. Your patties will be always twice as small as the patties that you created. For example, here I have that size of a patty, but in reality when you cook it, it'll turn small because of osmosis. The juices would go out. Now here's another patty that I'm creating, which is gonna be the smash burgers by Kenji Lopez-Alt, which the mad scientist says to create 2 small 2-ounce meatballs, to which we are going to realize that the buns are already done, to then casting our patties aside and let's see if our burger buns turned out the way that we wanted, and the answer is yes. Here's me just celebrating in happiness because yes, I actually did create buns and I am not a baker, to which we are going to brush it with the melted butter that I have melted in the oven and having a ghost making the camera move. Now getting your fresh ingredients, which include tomatoes, wait a minute, and another one is a white onion or a red onion conversely. I guess cheese is a fresh ingredient, and lettuce, which will continue to buy fresh red tomatoes, because realizing that the tomato I have on hand is already overripe. Then slicing your white onions into an inch thick, just like what I'm doing here. Now there's an option to actually cook the white onions before you top them on the burger, but I'm not gonna do it there because I am actually on a time limit because it's almost dinner time and I'm really hungry. And then slicing the tomatoes into half an inch thick, and then chopping the lettuce as well, just like what I'm doing here. Now you want to gather the lettuce, throwing away the bad ones, those are the rotting ones, to which we are going to discover whether or not I created burger buns. Asking my mom how to cut it, she says cut it not that way but just like this, discovering that our burger buns are actually burger buns. Hell yes. Now we are going to separate since I'm gonna have dinner time with my family. I'm gonna have 3 plates, butter up a pan, and toast the burger buns, revealing that I actually burnt the bottom side of my burger buns, which is caused by my oven because it just overheats sometimes. Now getting a very hot pan, skillet or something, if you have a cast iron skillet, which is better, just add your burger buns onto it. It'll actually just spray out some fat oil, so you don't need some oil. So we're gonna get our Thousand Island dressing here, putting it on the toasted buns equally, and then checking out our burger patties. I forgot to add that the burger patties needs to be salted before you put it on. You don't want to salt your patties before around an hour before, because it'll just destroy the burger patty. Then adding water into the now added cheese to it. Oh, almost dying to that fire. Oh no. I'm actually really hungry right now because of watching this video again, reminiscing the tasty burger that I created. Getting another fire spit out of my burger pan. Ooh, like that. Very strong. It was very hot, to be honest. This thing is really very, very dangerous sometimes, but you know, the outcome is good. Seeing that melted cheese on the burger patty is what it's all about. Now here, is how I form my patty. I put lettuce first, and then put onions. Removing that, adding a little bit of onions. Wait, no, lettuce. Oh, I just said that wrong. Adding a little bit of lettuce on there, onions, tomatoes, just like that, covering my burger. Salting the tomatoes is actually one of the best things that you can do. It actually brings out the flavor of the tomato. Here we go. Now we are going to create the smash burger. Just like the name itself, you want to smash the patties as strong as you want. And scraping it off. Let's see if I did it correctly, which I kind of failed. And trying again, smashing it with all of my might, seeing if I did it. Let's see if I did it correctly this time. Close enough. And you want to put the cheese in between those patties. These patties are gonna cook quickly, so it'll take around 1.5 minutes. It'll cook. So here's the other point of view of our patty, to which we are going to follow Kenji Alt's style of dressing the burger, which he puts the lettuce first into the onions and tomatoes, adding the now done smash burger into there. Kenji Alt, please forgive me for I have sinned. I did not have a weight, but I guess I had to make do with what I have. And here is your regular burger and your smash burger.